This video, so the other day we reacted to a video called, what was it called? Why Americans are becoming so weak. And this is made by the same guy, and it's almost like a follow-up video. And this one's called Why Gen Z Are Becoming Weaker Than Ever. I'm interested in this because I'm a part of Gen Z, and you know, like I said last stream, I'm not weak. Do I look weak? I'm a part of Gen Z, and you guys, you people that are watching are holding me back, holding me and my entire generation back, because me, I'm not weak, okay? So what I need you guys to do is hit the fucking gym, okay? So then these people stop calling us weak, alright? Y'all are holding our generation back. Me and Noah, on the other hand, though, Noah and me are built different. That's all I know. That's all I know. FNAF, see, Ace, see with me, with the whole, like, me, like, streaming my videos now, I can play FNAF, and then I'll just turn that the stream, that part of the stream into a video, and then I don't mind if it flops, because I'm gonna post the next day. I'll post every day. It's like a win. We all win. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. Bro, spool as fuck. So yeah, so what do you guys want to do? I'm confused with what you guys want to do. Watch the video. Okay, so you guys want to watch the video. Okay, cool. All right, we're gonna watch the video. It's only a 14-minute video. Should probably only take us 20 minutes to watch because I like to react. But let's do this. Let's do this. By the way, they are making help wanted to. Better hop on. We'll see about that. We'll see about that. All right, let's finish. Let's watch this final video here, and then we'll get into some games. Chat. Let's leave a like, by the way, because Moon is always making these good documentary style videos.
Imagine you're walking down a long dirt road. It's the same path your parents have traveled, and they love telling you about how much easier the journey is today, and that all you need to do is keep walking. The milestones stretch out in front of you, landmarks that your parents reached as part of their journey, but as the years go by and the road stretches out, they just seem further and further away. Sometimes a storm blows in and you have to wait for it to pass, or the road turns to mud and it feels like you're trudging through a swamp. Eventually you look up and you realize that you've gotten no further than you were a day, a month, or a year ago. There's a very good reason Gen Z is the most apathetic, cynical, and detached generation in living history. Just look at the hand they've been dealt.
Alright, explain to me, explain to me. Explain to me why my generation sucks ass. Explain to me, please.
Meaningful relationship, buy a home, start a family, get a good job, and generally live your life. With each rung on the ladder getting further apart, you can't blame people for doubting if the climb is worth it. Participation in society used to be based on an underlying deal. If you paid attention at school, worked hard, and treated people with respect, eventually everything would fall into place. Society had set structures which guaranteed that the people who followed the rules would actually get something out of it. A home, a family, a purpose, something which maybe added meaning to their lives. But over the past few decades, all of that was systematically stripped away. It was the lie we were told growing up. Everyone has to grow up. But the breaking of that illusion has been particularly traumatic to Gen Z. As children, we were told we could do anything, and that the world was a place where
you can do anything. You literally can do anything. You can do anything. That's what I don't understand, bro. And I feel I would argue today, it's much more easy to make money today than it was when your parents were growing up. Because all you got to do is have a little bit of discipline. I think that's the one thing our generation does lack is a little bit of discipline. That's one thing, because discipline has shown me twice that if you're disciplined, you can conquer, you can literally do anything. One, with my YouTube channel. If you stay disciplined and I kept posting, I kept at it, and look at my channel now. It's verified, it has over 100,000 subscribers. Two, with the gym. If you stay in the gym and you keep going every single day in and out, you're going to get a good physique. And that's just how it works. You just got to do, exactly, you just got to do it. And I think motivation is one thing. Yeah, you can be motivated, but eventually the motivation is going to go away. And so you have to be disciplined. Who's going to carry the boats? Who's going to carry the logs? Me, son. Me. All right? I'm going to be the greatest person in my entire bloodline. Okay? If that's not motivation enough, I don't know what is.
All of this would come true, but the reality that we actually grew into was far from a paradise, and the way we learnt about it was like diving straight into the deep end. Just a few hundred years ago, the things people learned and knew about the world fit neatly together. People learned about the world from the people around them, and they built their own beliefs based entirely on their own small
Ace knows. Ace and Noah know.
traditions
They
were
know.
handed
They
down
know.
to you and
They're
your community.
they're
And
built
then
different.
it all got thrown into chaos. The Enlightenment and the Scientific Revolution destroyed the foundations of these religious and traditional worldviews. People's worldviews expanded, and their lives got more complicated. As religion lost its dominant role, ideology came in to replace it. As the world slowly modernized, traditional communities struggled to survive, and traditional structures in society were replaced by ideological ones. People's allegiance and place shifted from their community to were replaced by ideology.
These kind of people, guys, you don't want to be like these kind of people. These kind of people have enemies. These kind of people can't even hold just a civil conversation. And just because you disagree with somebody doesn't mean you should hate them as a person and hate their existence. That's what I don't understand. There's not a single person on this planet that I genuinely hate. I just because you disagree, like me and Noah, we have disagreements. Like Noah is a personal friend of mine. I've known him since I was like 8 years old, and we have strong disagreements. He thinks, and I think it's quite stupid that he thinks this, he thinks that the Obi-Wan Kenobi and the Boba Fett show on Disney Plus were peak Star Wars. That shit was straight garbage. But at the end of the day, it's just a disagreement. He's still my brother. He's still my friend. I don't care what he likes. As long as he likes Star Wars, hey, at least we agree on other things. We agree that the sequel trilogy movies are ass, okay? That's all I need. He's defending it right now. He's defending them right now. But yeah, you can have disagreements and you can still have, you can be friends with people that you have disagreements with. I just don't, I genuinely don't understand people that can't have a civil conversation and just disagree with people.
Ideological ones. People's allegiance and place shifted from their community to their nation state and the ideas they stood for. Even into the 20th century though, your view of the world could still remain consistent. Most people still had a clear path for their lives, and a clear way of thinking about life shared among the people they knew. The internet and access to mass media from across the world has blown all of this away. Instead of one belief system dominating our lives, there's thousands of false desires for us to pick and choose from. Instead of consistent shared experience.
Okay, that is the one thing that's the one good thing that came out of Boba. Like a banta. Ride it like a banta. That was the one good thing that came out of Boba Fett. That show was way worse than Obi-Wan Kenobi for sure, though.
Millions of different people's subjective views on life. By the time they're 12 years old, kids today have been plunged headfirst into the shifting sea of ideas. Millions of judgments and opinions about what's right or wrong, how you should act, and what's either desirable or disgusting. It's easy for people to retreat into this world of information. The philosopher and sociologist, Jean Baudrillard, describes this world as hyperreality, a sort of world beyond worlds, made up of meanings behind objects and people rather than what they actually are. Things and concepts which exist in the real world like beauty, tragedy, virtue, and vice all get warped and maximized. Beautiful people become impossibly perfect with computer editing.
I don't know why it says I'm playing Dark Souls. I didn't put that. I literally just put gaming and then I didn't like put the game that I was playing. It just did that automatically, I'm assuming.
And filters. Every crisis from around the world is suddenly right in front of you until it's quickly replaced by something else. The craziest outbursts and the most violent altercations rise to the top. These forces are most noticeable in people's sexual identity and preferences. Overstimulation and seeing all of your desires digitalized eventually gets boring for people. The more immersed in hyperreality they become, the harder it is for them to quench these desires. Everything becomes more and more extreme, and the harder.
See, I don't mean to be rude. No, I don't mean to be rude at all. But I'm just gonna assume this person that's jumping around right here. I'm just assuming, and I probably shouldn't make this assumption. But the people that are like this,
the harder it is for them to quench these desires. Everything becomes.
And the people that are like this, I'm just assuming they don't really have any aspirations and desires, and they don't really have a moral code that they live by. And I think that's one good thing that's helped me for sure is I know my morals and I know what I believe in. And obviously my opinions can change if presented with the right evidence. But I have a moral code, and I also have desires. I want to be better. I want to be a better person. And so every day I'm trying to be a better person. And it seems to me, this is not how you be a better person. Now, just because, she shaved her head and she has no eyebrows, just because she looks crazy, that doesn't mean she actually is crazy. But what I'm trying to say is, she probably doesn't have the same mindset as I do. And I'm not saying people should have the same mindset as I do, but you know, you should try to be better. And I think that's like the whole goal of life, is just to be better, be a better person. And it's just to grow each day and to gain more knowledge. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't really know what else to say. Speaking facts, thanks. No, I mean, I really don't, like, these are the kind of people I don't really want to be friends with. Like, I wouldn't want to be friends with this kind of person right here. At all.
Reality they become, the harder it is for them to quench these desires. Everything becomes more and more extreme and detached from actual reality. Baudrillard describes this hyper-real world as being far more intense and ecstatic than the real world we live in. People find themselves fleeing the desert of the real for this digital world of symbols and subjectivity. But even if you don't get so caught up in hyper-reality, it still changes the world around you. People's values and beliefs shift to reflect their ever-changing window into public opinion. Objects and people gain value according to how they're regarded in this hyper-reality, as opposed to their actual value. They become symbols. Eventually, as we're seeing today, the hyper-real world begins to replace the real one entirely. If people act based on hyper-reality and social status within it, then it starts to dominate life itself. Parts of life like fashion, which were already based on symbolism and underlying meanings, show the most severe effects of this. It's only in a hyper-real world that the brand Supreme could make a literal brick with their logo carved into it, which would then later sell online for over $1,000.
Okay, but yeah, you know, that's gonna sell. I get that. You know, that's gonna sell. But the people that are buying this kind of stuff are stupid. It's just true. Like, only stupid people are buying a $1,000 brick that has the Supreme logo on it. I don't want that. I would never spend $1,000 on that. And I'm not saying that I'm not stupid, because I've definitely made some stupid things. I've done some stupid things in my life. Sneak into a chemical laboratory. But, you know, I would never buy or purchase a $1,000 brick. It ain't happening. So, I don't think this brick has any problems to do with our generation. I think there's stupid people in every generation. I just think that brands are starting to notice that they can sell whatever they want with their brand power. That's kind of how Apple works. Apple hasn't innovated or invented anything new in a long freaking time. But it's Apple, and everybody knows it's Apple. And so they always buy an iPhone. It just brand sells. And so Supreme realized that as long as they slap their logo on something, stupid ass people will buy it. Making a brick that has the Supreme logo must take $1 to make, less than $1. It should be like 30 cents to make something like this, and they sell it for $1,000. They're making so much money off this because stupid people will buy it. And I'm not saying, stupid people exist in every generation. It just brands are starting to realize that they can sell their brand and not a product.
Living in this world, and especially growing up in it, makes it much harder for people to find actual meaning. When everything only has value based on shifting opinions and an invisible social hierarchy, nothing has any permanent meaning behind it. This hyper-reality becomes all the more tempting when you put down the phone and take a real look at today's world. Following the advice of the people who came before us doesn't work too well. The world has changed so much in recent history that the roadmap they followed just doesn't work anymore. Finding someone special, settling down, buying a home and having children just isn't feasible for most people. And the root of the problem is economic. When you look at what it takes to reach these integral parts of life today compared to 20 or 50 years ago, it puts it all into perspective. Let's start with the US. Here's the home price to median household income ratio over time. It measures how many years it would take, saving all the money the average American household earns, to buy a family home. From 1965 to 2000, it hovered around 3.5 to 4.5, a healthy ratio that meant that homes were usually within the reach for most people, which isn't the case today at all. After years of stagnating wages, greedy bankers playing the system, and a global pandemic, we're closing in on 8. It would take 8 years of wages to buy just one home. The UK is even worse off on average. They blew past 8 years in 2015. Now it would take 9.
I would actually argue it's easier to make money today than it is to make money like in the 80s. Especially with the internet, bro. I feel like the average person doesn't realize that the internet is a gold mine for money, and they just don't realize it. You can do anything on the internet. You can make so much money on the internet. Like if you have the capability, if you have an internet connection and you have a job, you have no excuse but to work at your job, and then on your time off, you can go on the internet and somehow learn some sort of skill where you can make money. The internet is literally a gold mine. It has all the knowledge of the human race, and I don't understand if you have an internet connection, you're privileged enough to have a computer. You have no excuse, in my opinion. You can learn anything. You can learn how to do anything with the internet. And I could just be talking from a perspective of, I could be pretty fortunate, but at the same time, I don't know.
9 years of wages to buy one house. In the big cities, it's even worse.
Yeah, Gen Z is the strongest and the weakest. They're weak, yet they could be so much stronger. Gen Z is like the Star Wars. There are Jedi and Sith. There has to be balance. So Gen Z is like the sequel trilogy. Okay, and where we want to be in the prequel era or the original trilogy era. But right now, Gen Z is like the sequel trilogy. You know what I'm saying? There's some good bits and pieces of Gen Z, just like the sequel trilogy. There's some good bits and pieces, but overall, it's shit. Monokage inherited his riches. He's a fraud. Not at all. Literally not at all.
Plus, to buy the average home in LA and comfortably pay the mortgage, you need to make over $220,000.
Okay, I'm sorry I keep pausing it, but LA's a shithole. I don't even know why you'd want to live there. I literally do not know why all these influencers and all these rich people want to live in LA. LA is an actual shithole. It's a really bad city. I would never want to live there.
In New York, the median house price is equivalent to over 10 years of income for the average household. A London family would need a staggering 16 years of uninterrupted wages to buy a house outright. The cities that young people move to for work, and high wages end up being far harder to get a foothold in. And all of this is so important because owning a home is the foundation for a traditional life. Living paycheck to paycheck and paying off someone else's mortgage means there's barely a safety net at all. It's dangerous for people to live their lives because it's just too expensive in our society. Adding in childcare costs makes it clear why very few people are even having children anymore. Is it really a surprise the West is facing a giant population collapse? Of course, it isn't just housing here. Inflation has meant that everything's gotten so much more expensive. Corporate profiteering and price gouging haven't helped either. But as everything has gotten more expensive, wages have continued to stagnate for most. Since 1979, the bottom 90% of the US saw their income rise by around 24% adjusting for inflation. Meanwhile, it doubled for the top 1% of the country. Hyper-reality has distracted people from this. They still know it's happening, everyone's feeling the effects. But with the constant assault of useless information you're powerless to do anything about, it just gets swallowed up by the constant cycle. It acts as a release valve for people's rightful outrage. Real anger and emotions that would have been converted into real action end up in cyberspace instead. There they join the billions of other opinions and fade away into the background noise. Things go by so fast we're unable to process them. Humans just not built to deal with so much at once, and as a result, hyperreality all seems like a blur. Like you're traveling through it all so fast that you only get a sense of the underlying emotions. The algorithms manipulate this further and push content that makes people feel self-conscious or negative to the top. It doesn't help that we're going through a global crisis right now.
I don't think that it's true that these algorithms push negative things to the top. It's just what humans are interested in. I think that's just what humans are interested in. Because you can start a new Instagram or a new YouTube channel and open it up, and if you only watch like negative videos, then you're going to see negative things. But if you only watch cat videos, all they're going to present to you are cat videos. So I don't think that these algorithms are purposely pushing negative videos and negativity in the algorithm. It's just what people like to watch. And it's not that they like to watch it, it's just I think humans are attracted to stuff like that.
Of a third world war, economic catastrophe, the world's a mess, and Gen Z knows they're the ones who are going to have to clean it all up. And so applying Baudrillard's work to our world today illuminates the reasons behind how absurd and unreal it can all seem. The replacement of reality with hyper-reality shifted the focus of everything to social status. Money's a good example. Generally, people's wages and the amount of money they earned was linked to the quality of their labor and how productive they were. Today, How much you earn is entirely based on your social status within the system. It's been to the benefit of both CEOs and the top OnlyFans models. They both earn their money not through the quality of their work or what they produce, but through their position at the top of the hierarchy. The focus on speculative value, as opposed to real value, has aided scam artists and snake oil salesmen as well. It's only in our modern world that Sam Bankman-Fried could convince top hedge funds and millions of people to invest in a Ponzi scheme. The result of all of this is a society which puts far more focus on the optics of equality whilst becoming even more rigidly ordered and stratified. Movement up the ladder becomes even harder despite the appearance of a constant march towards a more liberal society. So how do you survive in a world like this? Well, there's a few different routes people take. Lots of people detach entirely.
I also feel like, you know how like everybody, like if you're in Gen Z, like every kid ever wants to be a fucking YouTuber or an influencer or something like that, right? I feel like within the next like 10, 15 years, and honestly, if my YouTube channel doesn't like seriously pop off within the next like couple years, I'm thinking about doing this too. And I'll still do YouTube on the side, obviously. But like, bro, I think within the next 10 years, I think since all these kids, especially in our generation, want to do like influencers, they want to do online work, they want to be entrepreneurs, whatever it is. I think blue collar work is going to pay so much more. Like electricians, plumbers, HVAC, all these blue collar jobs, construction workers. I think these kind of jobs are going to pay well in the future just because nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants to do it. And so I think in the future, they're going to pay way more because AI isn't going to take over construction workers. AI isn't going to take over plumbing. AI isn't going to take over electricians. That's not going to happen. So I just feel like within the next 10 years, I feel like those motherfuckers are make hella money. It's happening now. I agree. It's literally happening now. And so I'm gonna be honest, if my YouTube channel doesn't pop off here like within the next couple of years, I just as like a fail safe, I might like go to school for like whether it's electrician, plumbing, whatever it is, whatever. And just have that, and just in case if my YouTube channel fails, I can go do that. And I'll make hella money. $20 at Lowe's, but that's at Lowe's. That's like totally different. That's not blue collar work. That's just retail. That's kind of different. Join my job. Your job. Nah, I think I'll pass on that. Because I want to have like a certificate. I want to go to like Dom, Noah, like Dom. He went to HVAC school and he basically passed HVAC school and he has a certificate to work on refrigerators and stuff like that. And so and air conditioning. And so air conditioning is not going to go anywhere, bro. It ain't going nowhere. People need air conditioning. So, you know, and AI is not going to take that as a job. And so within the next 10 years, nobody's want to do that. And so they're going to pay more for that. Everything not online is going up. That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Really leaving the desert of the real and retreating entirely into hyper-reality. It isn't an active choice, of course. The passive nature of consumption just goes hand in hand with the inaction of depression. Simple things like exercise and living life become harder and harder to do as you sink into these lower levels.
Laser certified? That's good then. That's good.
What you need in the first place to break you out. But the more depressed someone is, the more difficult they become. There isn't one single cure to this, or some collection of words that will solve it. Everyone's journey is their own, and what people do have is their own personal strength and the people around them. Finding a natural reason to break free and carry on is completely different though. It's something philosophers have tried to solve for thousands of years, with middling results. Today, there's a few general approaches people try to use to find some sort of meaning. One approach has been championed by people like Andrew Tate to embrace hyperreality to the fullest. If social status is all that matters, then why not give in and make it the meaning behind your life as well? Andrew Tate calls this breaking out of the Matrix. But really, it's more similar to what Cypher did in the film than Neo. When he portrayed Neo and decided to go back into the Matrix, he represented embracing hyperreality. He accepted that even if the steak he was eating and the life he was living was fake and meaningless, he might as well enjoy the pleasures of it. Building social status, buying Bugattis, living in Dubai, having empty encounters with multiple women might sound like a 15-year-old boy's dream life, but in reality, that life never existed in the first place. It's an idealized image with little basis in true reality, expressed through heavily edited snippets and highlights. And even if you could live a life like that, it wouldn't add any real meaning to your life. You have no soul, you have no consciousness, you're not connected to any deeper purpose within inside of you. There will always be a faster and more expensive car to buy or or a larger mansion to own. Treating everything and everyone like an object of social status also justifies awful and abusive behavior. Any belief system that reduces people into something else inevitably leads to tragedy. Whilst embracing hyperreality isn't the answer, rejecting it completely isn't either. It would sound ideal to just take your loved ones and go live in a cabin somewhere. You'd be free to live an authentic life in nature, but it just isn't very realistic. Most people can't afford to just leave society, and even if they can, it's hard to convince others to join you. And by cutting out a community, you're cutting out one of the most important needs in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Deleting social media might be a less drastic solution, but you'll still be living in a hyper-real society. Detaching from life and society in these ways might be the right option for some. For others, it's life-denying. It's a decision born out of the fear of suffering what society has become. Would it not be better to work within society and at least try and make it a bit better, rather than just leaving it to the rest of the world? When the world faced a similar crisis of meaning 150 years ago, Nietzsche saw that the only escape from nihilism was to create your own values. They can't be based in hyperreality, and as create a collection of other people's experiences. The only thing that actually exists is your own viewpoint and your own perspective. That world is the only one you have even limited control over. Nietzsche believed that the highest values we can create come from the innate human will to power, and what he meant by this is still up for debate, but it doesn't mean simply forcing everything and everyone into submission. Instead, one interpretation of this will to power is how well you can shape the world around you. To have power in your life, the better you can make it, and the more it suits your own personal purposes, the more power you have.
Apparently this is a good show, by the way. It's called iRobot. I keep seeing it. I kind of want to watch it. Apparently it's really good. On I speak, you're pulling a XQC. I'm sorry, it's just I was just watching the video. I got really into the video. Hold on, wait. Let me sit like XQC too. This video's really good.
To analyze everything you read here or see that could impact your decisions, think about the motivations behind the person saying it. Decide whether it aligns with your own personal world and whether it can make it better. If it can, embrace it and see what happens. If not, discard it. The world is going through a crisis and it'll need strong, principled people to see it through.
Peaky Blinders, I want to see that show too.
Worry about your own world and the people around you. The rest is up to you. It's times of
What?
crises that breed strong people. Make sure you're one of them. But if you're interested in really finally defeating your social media addiction once and for all, I think you'll find my community of interest. You see, I'm actively working with like-minded people in my school.
Alright, so this is where he just shouts out his whole like community school. That's cool. Dub video though. What do you guys think about that? I'm talking about Drew, I don't really want to join VC right now because now we're about to play some games. We're about to play some games. We're playing some games. I don't even know XQC talks. I don't even watch XQC, bro. I'm gonna be honest. I personally think he just seems hella boring. What's up, hybrid? Alright, what are we playing, chat? What are we playing? I can't sit like this, bro. It's so uncomfortable. It's so uncomfortable. Okay. We're done reacting to things for today, chat. Finally, we can get to some games. We're 2 hours in.